Today we will discuss about the BM and how you import the BM and about the BM file format. So this is too important. So first, migrate BMs between the hypervisor. What it means? It means moving a BM between the different Gen server hosts, which done by Gen motion. That means live migration. Or moving a VM between the different hypervisor. Different hypervisor means VMware, Hyper-V, Gen server, etc. So from this option, you can moving a VM between the different host or different hypervisor. This is the important tool and too much important tool in your real life. So when you migrate your VM or import a VM or export a VM, uh, it's too much important about their file format. So VM can be imported from the following format. Which is format? Format is first is XPF format. It is also called the native Gen server format. You can also export the native Gen server. It's also called the native Gen server export format. And second one is OBA or OPF format. For the most hypervisor, this support the most hypervisor, support by most hypervisor, and it's also called the standard cross-platform format. So OBA means open virtual appliance and OBF means virtual open virtualization format. So you need to be clear about OBA and OBF. It has important difference. So OBF, open virtualization format, it's like a folder that containing the .obf file. That means OBF is containing the .obf file. .obf files main descriptor file and .mq file or disk and metadata. So this folder containing a three type of files and totally it's called a OBF. And OBA means open virtualization virtual appliance. Open virtual appliance. So OBA is a single compressed archive containing all OBF file. That means this is a single file, but it's containing the all OBF files, which is required. So simple way to remember, OBF is a folder and OBA is a single file. Okay, clear? Then about MAC address behavior. This is also important. When you importing a VM through Gen Center or other software, then by default new MAC address is assigned by the VM. Why VM do this? VM do this to avoid the network conflict. You can also keep the original MAC. If you want to keep the original MAC address, you can type a command xcbm imported file name, your XP file, and preserve true. Then it keep your original MAC address, not taking a new MAC address. Okay. So in real life, you be more careful about it. Okay. And from the Gen server in practical life, I will see how we find it. Okay. First, if your VM is running, then you shut down this VM. Okay. After shutdown, you can find from right click and you can find this option, export or import VM. And to import this import VM, click here and right click and you find this import VM. Okay, and export VM, click here and uh, click here, export VM, and this is your selected location where you want to export, and this is the file format. And you see here, this is the OB or OBF file, because OB or OBF file is the cross standard format. So if you export this file in from this as this format, so you can use this file to another hypervisor or other type of hypervisor, and you also use this format XBF format if you use this VM to a same gen server, so you use this file format XBF format. So file format is too much important on your depend on your hypervisor. Okay, then click here and select your VM, and you have the more VM, and you select this VM by clicking there. Okay, next it will be finished. Okay, this is the description. Thank you. And if another important thing is here, you can also transfer VM if the VM is not XBF file format. That means if you use the transfer VM for non-XBF format, if your file format is .bmdk or .bxb.exe, then if you try to import the VM, it will create a problem. So then this is the one option to remove this problem. So then you go to your Gen Center, and from Gen Center where you input the VM, select here, and from VM and select the hidden object. Hidden object means it disable the extension. So then you can import the import your VM here. Here is not mandatory your file system. Okay, you can import all type of option. Okay, you see here this option .bsd or other option you can see here. .bxd or other option you can see here. XP. So this is too much important. So don't worry. Okay. Next set. Import VM OS fix-up ISO. This is also too much important for our class. So what is OS system fix-up ISO? Operating system fix-up ISO is the special tools used during the VM input when the VM comes from another hypervisor like VMware, Hyper-V, KVM, etc. Its job is to make the input OS correctly on the Gen server. Clear? So to use the operating system fix-up on input disk image and OB or OBF package, you enable the feature on the OS fix-up setting page on the Gen Center input wizard, especially a location to copy the fix-up ISO so that the critic hypervisor can use it. So what it means? What it means? So first, why it is neat. When the VM is created on another hypervisor, it may have wrong boot driver, storage or NIC mismatch, and VMware or hypervisor specific driver or different disk controller type or different network adapter type. As a result, VM may fail to reboot after import. So fix-up ISO solve this by removing the incompatible driver and preparing the OS to use the Gen server drivers. So clear. When it is used, you use OS fixup during OBF or OBA import or BMDK import or BSD import sometimes. So not usually need for native XPA because native XPA is a format of critic hypervisor Gen server. Okay. So how it work? You start the input VM in the Gen Center. You enable the operating system fixup from where? From OS fixup setting. You can see here OS fixup setting page. From this OS fixup setting, you enable the operating system fixup. Then the Gen server, then just from the Gen server mount, and you can also copy the ISO to the ISO file, and on any computer where the Zen Center is installed, go to the following path and copy the file within the path. This is the path, and this is the file Zen Server Linux fixup ISO. Okay, and it's run inside the VM during the first boot, and it's adjust the OS so it can detect the virtual hardware and boot successfully. So it is too clear. You thank you, not more today, and you practice it. Thank you.